OCO, my name is Shanista Cloud. I work for the Cherokee Nation Cultural Resource Center. The following video is part of our new education series geared toward assisting teachers set up their own cultural activities in the classroom. Cherokees made jewelry and adorned themselves with many different materials, such as seed corn, animal bones, shells, crystals, stones, feathers, glass trade beads, and clay beads. Long ago, the Cherokee word for bead was adelan. Today, the Cherokee word for money is also adelan. What do you think this means? Cherokee beads and jewelry were used as trade items between other tribes and Europeans. Both Cherokee men and women were experts at making garments and jewelry. Often men wore more jewelry than women. Cherokees had favorite trade bead colors, often preferring red and blue for their spiritual significance. Certain beads had symbolic meaning, such as beaded belts or wampum belts, that were exchanged between different nations as a way to signify agreements about war, peace, and trade. These are all things you can consider as you watch this video and think about ways to design your beaded necklace or bracelet. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a Cherokee corn bead necklace. You also have the option to make a bracelet if you like. We'll be using these corn beads, which are also known as Jacob's tears, and we'll be using these glass beads. This is what a finished necklace will look like, or a finished bracelet. This necklace just shows you some patterns that can give you some ideas of how you want your necklace to look. You can use all solid colors. You can do a combination of colors with different patterns. This is just kind of an example for you to follow. You don't have to include all of these patterns in one necklace. You can make it look however you like. You should have a kit that includes all of the corn beads that you'll be using and the sinew and needle that we'll be using to make our necklace or our bracelet. You'll also have some different colored beads to choose from. So you're going to open up your kit, and I'm going to leave my corn beads in the bag just so they don't scatter on the table, and I'll just take them out as I need them. I'm going to take out this card. This has the sinew and the needle on it. The needle is sharp, so be very careful. I'm just going to pull that needle out and unwind it from the card. And this will have a bead on the end. That's just to stop the beads as you string them. You'll be able to cut that off later, or if you look on this necklace, it's not really even noticeable that much. So you can leave it on if you like. So here's my string, and we're going to start with one of the corn beads. Sometimes the corn beads will have a little bit of plant material on the inside, and you'll need to take that out before you can string it. So all you need to do is just grab that little tuft right there with your fingers and just try to get out as much as you can. This is a natural material. It grows on a plant, so it does have some natural fiber still on it. But because it has that hole in it already, it makes it really easy to make it into jewelry. So now I'm going to take my needle and just string this on my sinew. If it doesn't go through one side, try the other. There we go. I'm going to pull that all the way down to the end. Now we're going to start adding our glass beads, different colors. So I'm just going to start adding these to my necklace. Now you can add any color, any pattern you like. If you're making a necklace, you want to try to have at least 20 beads, 20 glass beads between each of your corn beads. And I'll show you an example of that. So here's my necklace here. And I've got, I think, 21. So there's 7 of this teal color. There's 7 of the green and pink, and then another 7. So there's 21 beads between each of my corn beads. That'll give you enough length that once you tie this off, it can fit easily over your head. If you're making a bracelet, you can use less glass beads between each corn bead. This one only has 3 corn beads, but you can shrink it down to 10 beads, 10 glass beads between each of your corn beads. That way you've got some extra corn beads on your bracelet. So I'm just going to keep stringing these glass beads until I have enough that it will make a good piece of jewelry. Just like that. And I'm just going to keep adding until I have the right length. So I've finished my bracelet. This is as long as I want to make it. I want to make sure before I tie anything off that it's big enough to slide over my hand. That way I can take it on and off easily. It's not going to get stuck. Same if you make a necklace, you want to make sure it'll go over your head comfortably before you tie it off. If it's not comfortable, if it's hard to pull down over your nose, then it's probably not going to come off very easy. So make sure it's long enough to fit comfortably over your head or your hand, depending on what you make. Now I'm going to end with glass beads here, because when I connect these two, then I'll have a corn bead there, and that'll complete my pattern all the way around. So you're going to take this, you're going to give yourself a little bit of slack. We're going to pull that out just a little bit. You can see it's come out of that bead there just a little. And you're going to take your needle and you're going to go back through that corn bead. And you can see it coming out here. We're going to go back through about 4 of these glass beads. I'm just pushing that needle through and it's going to come out right there. So I've gone through the corn bead and then through about 4 of these glass beads. And then I'm going to pull the needle through, pull all of my string, my sinew through there. Now you can see there's the sinew coming out of those beads. So we're going to take our needle and we're going to go underneath. And here we formed a loop. So this loop goes underneath the bracelet. It comes out here. Now, you're going to take your needle and go back through this loop. I'm going to go down and through that loop 2 or 3 times just to make a good, secure knot. Always going through the same side of the hoop. Once I've pulled it through 2 or 3 times, I'm going to pull that knot tight. Okay, so that right there creates the knot that will hold the bracelet together. So now I'm just going to trim that off. I'm not going to cut too close to that knot because I don't want it to come untied. So I'm just going to trim off just a little bit. I get my scissors to work. There we go. So there's a little bit hanging there, and we can trim that up, clean it up a little bit. And then here's where I started. So I'm just going to take my scissors and trim that off. Remember, not too close to the knot. We don't want it to come undone. Okay. And I'll trim this one up just a little. No, it doesn't show up too bad. And there we go. I've made a Cherokee corn bead bracelet. And you'll tie off your necklace the same way. If you choose to make a necklace, it'll look the same. This sinew is actually artificial sinew. Traditionally, sinew would have been made out of the tendons or ligaments of an animal. So when we hunted for deer, we would have butchered it, used the meat, used the bone, and we would have also used the tendons and ligaments to make into a type of string. As I said, this is artificial, so it's actually a plastic thread that's been coated in wax.
Wado for your time to learn about Cherokee culture and history. Share what you learned today with someone else. For more information, contact Cherokee Nation Education Services Cultural Resource Center at education@cherokee.org or 918-453-5000 and ask for education services.